Hi, everyone. My name is Anthony Caruso III, and I am the publisher of the Capital Sports Report. I am also the host of the Capital Sports Report Live. Today, we are joined by Justin Ashley, but before I welcome him to the show, I would like to play this video for the audience about his win earlier this season.
Stacked up side by side, this is it, the end of the 2022 Lucas Oil NHRA Winternationals. A 49 and a 50 line. Who's got the horsepower? It is going to be Justin Ashley. 369.4 at 314. Brock goes 371 at 333. A dazzling top fuel final to finish the first race of the season.
And the first Wally of the season is going to go in the hands of Justin Ashley. And Justin, prior to this weekend, you told us that this championship is going to be about consistency and about being hot at the right time. Could this team be any hotter this weekend?
I think now's the right time, Amanda, right? This is an amazing start, and I'm so blessed. I'm so fortunate to be able to drive this race car. I really have a list of thank yous, right? Thank you to Phillips Connect, everybody for believing in me. Chip Loft and Invita C-Shot, you took a chance on us from the beginning. Everybody at Team Toyota, Lucas Oil, Cotto, Autoshocker. We're here because of all of our sponsors, and it is just a blast. Mike Green, Dustin Davis, and this team did an unbelievable job. Austin's tough over there, but let me tell you, you never know when you're going to win one of these things, and I'm happy to win it, and I'm happy to win it for Team Phillips today.
Welcome to the show, Justin.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate you taking the time.
Justin, did you always want to follow in your father's footsteps? Your father is a multi-time champion in the sport. Did you always want to follow in his footsteps in drag racing?
Yeah, I mean, I think since I was young, I spent so much time around the racetrack since I was 8, 9 years old. So some of my earliest memories and my fondest memories were being at Englishtown or being at racetracks around the country. So I knew from a young age it was something that I always wanted to do. I didn't know necessarily which class or how I was going to make my way to that particular class. But, I fell in love with drag racing. And, since then, I've just been fortunate to be surrounded by a lot of really great people, a lot of really great companies. And, fast forward, 10, 15, 20 years later. And, I feel really grateful to be in the position that I'm in right now.
And today, your father is actually a part of your racing team.
He is. So my father does a lot for us. First and foremost, he's my father, and he's always there for me, at the racetrack. It's funny, I'll go through runs and he's almost making the run with me. So I'll be able to go back and kind of talk about certain things that happened and certain things that I felt. And he's almost able to tell me before I'm even able to tell him exactly what I felt in the car. So he's a great person to lean on for on the track advice, but off the track advice too. He helps a lot with our marketing. He's actively engaged in everything that we do on the marketing side. And I'm very grateful for that. He helps with our sponsors, and that's a big deal for us. He's a tremendous asset, a tremendous resource. So he brings a certain level of leadership to the team, in addition, obviously, to Dustin Davis and Mike Green and Tom Delago and the outstanding leadership that they have. So, in conjunction with each other, we make one really good, efficient, and effective team.
Earlier this season, it was announced that you were going into an alliance with Antron Brown during his first season as a team owner. Could you talk about how that came about?
Yeah, so my relationship with Antron actually dates back to really the early 2000s and the mid to late 2000s with my father. I've known Antron for a long time. He's always been kind of my go-to guy, my go-to resource, and he's a driver that to this day I still model myself after on and off the racetrack. And the way that relationship came together really was back in the day. My father raced funny car, and his crew chiefs were Mark Oswald and Brian Karate. When he decided to step away and stop driving, he owned the Top Fuel team, and the Top Fuel team that he owned had Antron Brown driving, was the Matco Tools Top Fuel Dragster with Mark Oswald, Brian Karate tuning, and Brad Mason there as an assistant. And now those same people are still in that same place. And their relationship started back then in the early 2000s. And then when he owned the team in 2009. So it all it's just funny how it all kind of came full circle. We always discussed wanting to bring it back around and being able to race with each other and how amazing that would be. And Antron and his team bring just a certain level of excellence, a championship winning mentality, and really is a privilege and an honor to be partnered with them and have an alliance with them in conjunction with our team. And it makes both our teams better.
Did this alliance with Antron only come about this season? Were you guys like talking about it previously, like before? Like I know he had hinted that, oh, I'm going to be an owner for a few years, but things didn't materialize until this season. Did it only just like take place like late last season, or it's been in the works for a while?
It's been in the works for a while. We didn't know necessarily how it was going to come about, but this was the best year for all of us to do it. I would say it really picked up steam last year. Throughout the year, we knew that we were going to be an alliance next year and work together. So that's really when we started to actually put the active plans in place, was last year. And it just, it kind of came to fruition this year, obviously, but it's something that's been in the works for a long time. We knew that we all wanted to race with each other for a while. Brian Karate and Mark Oswald, they have a previous relationship with Mike Green and Tommy Delago, who are our crew chiefs. So it was a natural fit, and we all meshed together really well.
What does the alliance do? Does it just share data because you guys have different sponsorships?
Yeah, it does a number of different things, and that's a great question. First and foremost on the track, right? Through our alliance with Antron, we've been fortunate to partner with Toyota. And a large part of what Toyota does, in addition to so many other great things for the teams and drivers, is provide data and information that goes back to the crew chief. So that's one very valuable relationship. Our relationship with Toyota Gazoo Racing North America that has come out of this alliance. But also for both of us, we do share data and we share information with each other from our side to their side and their side to our side, so we can study the runs and get better together. And then from a marketing side, we have different sponsors, but there's a lot of really great things that we can do on our Phillips Connect and Vitus C-Shot team that he can do with his Matco Tools team. So we do work together on the marketing side of things and on business-to-business avenues. Just by way of example, one of our sponsors, AutoShocker, which is an interior odor eliminator for your vehicle, we were able to speak with Matco Tools, and they have a Matco Plus program, and now AutoShocker is being sold through Matco Tools and their Matco Plus program. So we are actively working together on the B2B side, on the marketing side, and on the racetrack too.
For several years, she competed in Top Alcohol Dragster before making the step up in 2020. But when you made your debut in 2020, things were kind of haywire because we had this pandemic that we're out of now, or hopefully we're out of now. So as a driver, did you feel, or were you pressured maybe to push it back because of everything that was going on?
We thought about it, but that ended pretty quickly. We knew we were there to race, and we made a commitment to race during 2020 for our sponsors, for our partners, and for our team. And we did a great job. 2020 was a great year in terms of laying a foundation, establishing a base for ourselves for what we wanted to do moving forward, and helped us transition into 2021. It was a weird year because coming out, obviously, we had the first two races of the year in Pomona and Arizona, and then all of a sudden everything came to a screeching halt when the pandemic hit. So our original plan was not to run a full schedule. It was to only run 12 races. Well, as it turns out, the full schedule was only 11 races. So we did end up running what was a full schedule in 2020. So it actually, in that way, worked out in our favor. The pandemic was so terrible, so many bad things, and our thoughts and prayers still go out to all those who've suffered and are continuing to suffer throughout this pandemic. But we made a commitment to race, and we were fortunate, and our partners and our sponsors stayed with us and stayed committed to us throughout that time. And that was a really important year for us.
What was it like for you as a new team, just being out there when the sport came back at Indy? What was it like for you guys being new and racing through the guidelines that the NHRA put in place? It was unique for everyone, but as a new team, it may have been more difficult for you guys.
It was different. And look, we were a new team, but everyone was under the same circumstances. The same rules applied, and something small, for example, that actually was bigger than any of us could have anticipated is wearing masks. Now you say, okay, you have to wear masks at the racetrack, not a big deal, and not even so much, for me, but not so much for me, but for the team. You know, when it's 90 plus degrees out there and you're grinding and you're working hard on that race car, it's tough as is, let alone, you know, having maybe limited breathing with a mask on. So that made it a little bit difficult, especially when you got to make 4 turns on a Sunday and it's hot out there and you got to wear the mask. And then the change in routine. I remember one race in particular, we had a 9 a.m. start, you know, on a Sunday morning, and that is a change of routine. You know, you got to show up at the track maybe as early as 5 or 6 a.m. To be able to get ready and warm up the car and get ready to go. And there's a 9 a.m. round 1 on Sunday. So it was a change, but, you know, rookie team or not, everyone faced the same situation. It was all in the same circumstances. And I'm still to this day extraordinarily impressed at the job that NHRA did throughout that pandemic. I mean, Glenn Cromwell and the entire NHRA team did a fantastic job just, you know, bringing that to life and letting us race during that period of time and thriving during that period of time, being on Fox Sports, national Fox broadcast. You know, altogether, NHRA did a really good job at that time.
Your very first win was at the Lucas Nationals, but due to a little situation that arose with the weather, your race actually got pushed back to the U.S. Nationals. And I believe you faced TJ Zizzo. What was that race like? What was it like winning that race?
Yeah, it was a long time coming. You know, we raced at one of the Indy races, the Summer Nationals, as you said, and we made it through rounds 1, 2, and 3, and we're getting ready to go for the finals. And it was going to be a tough turn for us. And then all of a sudden the rain hit, something that we really were not anticipating, and everything kind of came to a halt. And the interesting part was we all had to get together, NHRA representatives, TJ and his team, and our team, and decide, okay, what's in our best interest? Now, it could have been race the next day, which was a Monday. It could have been race the following race in Indianapolis, but TJ wasn't going to be there. So that was off the table. He had guys who had to go back to work, and we had guys who had to go back to work the next day. So Monday was off the table. So we ended up having to wait to the U.S. Nationals, which actually was tough to wait 48 or 49 days or however long it was. But A, the win obviously was worth the wait, and it made it that much sweeter. But B, it really gave us an opportunity to flourish on NHRA's biggest stage at the U.S. Nationals in front of a crowd of people. So TJ's a great, great guy. And I know that his win is coming immediately. Just a class act. So an honor just to race against him and our team, you know, really did an amazing job. And one guy in particular that was there, Chip Lofton, you know, from Vita C Shot and originally from Strut Masters, he was there. And that was something that was very special to me because he believed in us from the beginning. And it was very important for me and important for him to be there during that moment. So that was a special win all the way around.
And I believe, if my memory is correct, didn't you guys have a bet with TJ Zizzo and you and your crew got pizza, I believe it was?
Yeah, so he's from Chicago. I'm from New York. So there was a little bit of a pizza bet naturally, right? As you can imagine, deep dish in the New York style pizza. So we were able to win the race. So he had to bring us over pizza. Had it been the opposite, we would have had to bring his team over pizza. And look, that's the fun part about it. It's pizza, right? It's pizza, but it's fun. You know what I mean? We like competing with each other. We enjoy competing with each other. It was a good opportunity for some media and some stuff for us and our team and his team in NHRA, but some good engaging stuff with the fans and stuff to talk about. But it's fun stuff like that, you know, within the NHRA community that really makes it so special. So
did you like the Chicago style pizza?
So don't tell anybody, but I didn't have it, right? It was a race weekend. The team had it. They look, pizza's pizza. You can't really have bad pizza. Maybe some better than others. Yeah. You can't have bad pizza. I didn't have it. I was racing, trying to eat healthy. But nonetheless, the team enjoyed the pizza. So thank you, TJ Zizzo, for that.
Yeah, you gotta make sure you don't gain a lot of weight because you gotta fit in your fire suit.
You gotta, yeah, that's not something you want. You don't want to be in a position where you gain too much weight, you can't fit in the fire suit. That's not fun because you can't have a new one made so quickly. So you don't really want to be the guy trying to squeeze in there to make it all work.
And they're already tight as it is. I see like some of you guys struggling to get them on.
It's tight now. Like that's the thing. It's important. Like each individual driver has their own preference. Some like it tight and fitted. Some like
Okay.
it loose. I prefer mine somewhere in the middle, probably a little bit more on the loose side. But I'm fortunate to have a relationship with Impact where they really go out of their way to keep me safe and keep me comfortable. So Impact does a great job. They work with Antron Brown too, of working with me and working with Antron and all their drivers of making sure that, yeah, it's an SFI 20 suit and it's going to be heavy, but at the very least, making you safe and making you feel as comfortable as you can.
Speaking of the suit, what's it like when it's like hot? When like that Summer Nationals, it had to be like a very hot day when you got your first win, and you got all this gear on you, from your helmet to the face covering, fire protection thing that you put on your head, to the harness on your neck, to the fire suit, and then you're strapped in with this 8-point harness. It's got to be brutal in there.
It's tough in there. It's not generally not for a long period of time. And when you're racing is not really when you feel it. It's when you feel it is when you're in the staging lane, sitting in the car and kind of just waiting and burning up. But that's all a part of racing. That's the sacrifice we have to make. It's hot in there. The equipment is heavy. You know what I mean? And you feel it. You got a lot of stuff on you, a lot of stuff there to protect you, and it's there for a reason. But nonetheless, it's something we know we have to do, and we understand that.
You talked about Chip Lawson. He gave you a chance. He believed in you. Could you talk about working with him and the relationship that you built with him to give you the shot and be the major sponsor for him to be there when you first won?
Yeah, I mean, our relationship started on the track and it developed to something more special than that off the track. At this point, Chip is a part of our family. He's a part of our racing family, but he's a part of my immediate family. We were going into our first year in Top Fuel, which was really the back end of 2019. We raced 3 races that year and we needed his support. And it started with a simple email. And that simple email led to me meeting one of the most selfless, kindest, most genuine human beings. You see how many people he was out there sponsoring at one point with an NHRA, and he was doing it for a reason. He wasn't doing it. Yeah, I mean, at one point, maybe 12, 13 teams, and he wasn't doing it for him. That's the amazing part. When you speak to this guy, when you speak to Chip, it's not about him. It's about helping people take that next step and letting them, as he says, live their dream, live in the dream. And that's what I've been able to do, is live my dream because of Chip Lofton and because of all our great sponsors. I mean, Chip has gone way out of his way, above and beyond, through Strutmasters, through Vitacy Energy, to Chip Lofton and Mark Beaver as well, to be able to put our team in a position to be successful.
I think it was like a year or two ago, I got a press release saying he had like to step away. I believe it was due to health problems.
Yeah, so thank God, by the blessing of God, he's much healthier now. He's doing really good. He really has come a long way, and he's found some things that have really, really worked well for him. So he's back in good spirits, back in good health, and we love having him at the racetrack, and he'll be back out there again in Epping.
Wasn't he in Virginia with you? I saw
He was. He's not shy about coming to the races. He'll come to as many as he possibly can, and we have a blast. So he was in Virginia. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it to Pomona. He wasn't at the Winternationals, but he's been at a bunch of them. He's been at Gainesville, and we love having him there, and he loves being there.
Back to the 2020 season. Towards the end of the 2020 season, you were named the 2020 Rookie of the Year. What does that mean to you?
It means a lot. On its surface, I know that award seems like it's an individual award, but it's far from it. It's a tremendous honor when you go down that list and see the teams and drivers that have won that award, including Antron Brown. But it's a team award. It really is a team award at its core. It takes a team to be able to do that, and to be able to flourish in a year like 2020 with so much unpredictability, really meant a lot for us. At the time, we were not planning on running a full schedule, even though we did, because the full schedule was 11 races. So our ultimate goal was to win Rookie of the Year. And we accomplished that goal as a team, as a group of sponsors, as a group of individuals that really stepped up to the plate and thrived during what was a very difficult time in the world. So to be able to win 2020 NHRA Rookie of the Year is something special that'll stay with me, that'll stay with our team, for forever. And they deserve to win that award.
Before the 2021 season, your team made a huge announcement. you guys hired Mike Green as your tuner, as your crew chief. Could you talk about bringing him on board to your team the past 2 seasons?
Yeah, I mean, Mike Green, I could go on about Mike forever. He's an A-plus individual, and he's an A-plus crew chief. He is championship winning on and off the racetrack. And, we have a great relationship, and he has a great relationship with Dustin Davis and our entire team. And you can see it. You saw when he came in, the shift in the culture and the shift in how we began to think as a group. And, you saw it reflect in the performance that we've had on the racetrack. He's a guy that's aggressive, but he knows how to properly tune a race car, and that's evident. He brings a certain level of expertise and excellence to the table, and he's just a joy to work with. One of the important things as a driver is your communication with your crew chief and just your ability to be able to work together. And he is just a humble, no ego type of guy that is just happy to be there, happy to be racing. And for me as a young driver, he's somebody that I continue to learn from. And I will continue to learn from as long as I can and just pick his brain on things because he's very, very bright. And we feel really privileged. We feel really blessed, to have Mike on our team.
Last season was your first full season, and you finished 4th in the standings, your first top 5 finish, and you earned your first countdown to the championship berth. Could you talk about the magical season that you had last season?
Yeah, it was magical in a lot of ways, and it started with preparation, right? They say, when preparation meets opportunity is when you're able to be successful, and it started with the preparation in the offseason. In 2021, going into that season, Mike Green came in and kind of revamped our whole program. We ran a new program, and Dustin Davis did a great job of leading the group that we had. And, we continue to improve, continue to get better and better and better throughout the season. And then when the countdown came, we were just full steam ahead, full throttle. And, we finished 4th, a top 5 finish in a very, very deep and competitive top fuel class. Really says a lot about our entire team. And they did a great job. Really, they did an awesome job. It was a great year. We were able to get a win. We were able to set a Bristol dragway track speed record at over 334 miles per hour. We set a lot of career bests, and we did a lot of really great things throughout the year. And we improved and we improved and we improved to set us up well for 2022. So that's what it was all about. And it starts and ends with the team.
Towards the end of the 2021 season, you won at the Texas Motorplex, and you received, as any winner who wins at the Texas Motorplex, a cowboy hat. Could you talk about winning on that stage at the Texas Motorplex?
Yeah, I still get some grief from that because I put on my cowboy hat backwards because I don't know better. But my excuse is that I'm from New York. I mean, right? Listen, I'm from New York. I think it's a pretty good excuse. So apparently I put on my cowboy hat backwards, which I have no idea. I was touching it by the brim, which I learned you're not supposed to do that either. But you live and you learn. It's a good problem to have, obviously. That was a fun race. Everybody at Texas Motorplex, Elin Werner, and that whole group did an awesome job of putting it together. That was a special race. They had concerts leading up to the event. They had all these activities and autograph sessions and all these fun, fantastic things to get the fans engaged throughout the weekend. They had an extra purse up for whoever ran low qualifier of Friday night as well. Just, an extra payout to the winner. So it's just fun. Everything about that event was fun. It was different. It was exciting. We all got cowboy hats, which is nice. And I definitely still have my cowboy hat. So that was a great event. You want to win any event you enter, but that was a fun one, the Fall Nationals, and the Texas Motorplex and Billy Meyer and everybody there always do a really good job. So that was a lot of fun.
Do you have it in your office there?
I don't. I wish I did. Unfortunately, I have it upstairs tucked away in my closet. I have the Wallies and the Rookie of the Year trophy behind me, a few pictures, but that's a special one. That one's tucked away.
When you won at Texas, I believe it's a wasabi. That's a big, large, I'll call it a steer that had those long horns. Did you get to take pictures with that?
Yeah, it's a Watusi,
Okay.
which I learned, right? Again, East Coasters, we don't know. So
yeah,
it's a Watusi, and I was able to take pictures with it. I was shy. I was shy at first, but my team, Austin, Greg, and Justin, and the entire team kind of pushed me on there. And I hopped on him, hung out with him for a little bit, and took some pictures on the Watusi. Oliver, the Watusi actually is his name. I hope he's back there next year because that's another fun thing that they do. That you don't really get to see everywhere else. And all the tracks do a great job, whether it's, Bill Bader at Norwalk with his ice cream or
Yes.
Epping and the nostalgia that they have there at New England Dragway, or Bristol and the way the sound reverberates on the racetrack. They each have their own special twist to it. And in this case, the Texas Motorplex, in addition to the other things that they did, Oliver the Watusi was a really nice twist. And I'm a big dog guy. I'm a big animal guy. So that was pretty cool.
At the last race of last season, you guys made a little change. And that change is bringing Tommy Delago out of so-called retirement, who had not been a crew chief or a tuner for several years, and was selling beef jerky, if I remember right, was selling beef jerky, and then you brought him back into the sport.
Yeah, so he still is selling beef jerky. His company, Beef Jerky Unlimited, and it's delicious beef jerky, by the way. I have to say, Tommy makes delicious beef jerky because he brings some to the racetrack and we're able to try it. And try it out. But that relationship came together. Dustin Davis had a conversation with Mike Green, and they talked about bringing someone on and who he would want. And he said Tommy Delago. And they've had a relationship. They've worked together on the Skull car and a few other cars in the past. And they brought him out to the racetrack. He hung out with us for Vegas of last year and Pomona of last year at the end of the year, and committed to 2022. And it's just a joy having Tommy on board. He works great with Mike Green. He's great at communicating with the guys and the entire team. And he's somebody who's aggressive. He won a championship tuning for Matt Hagan. His experience tuning with Alexis DeJoria and a lot of other really great drivers. He's aggressive. He has a great, wonderful mindset. Somebody that's just grateful to be racing, grateful to be at the racetrack, and just a great person. And those are the type of people that you want on your race team. So it's really fun getting to work with Mike and getting to work with Tommy and learning from them each and every day.
Do you feel like now he's more comfortable with the team instead of in those first two races where he might have not have been comfortable since he did not be around the race team for a few years?
Sure. Well, I think those first two races was really a way to see how he would fit with us, but how we would fit with him too. Equally as important. We wanted Tommy to be in our organization, but he had to feel comfortable with us as a group. So those first two races, we kind of just wanted to feel each other out. And then after those two races, we really got a plan together on what, he was going to bring to the table, his roles and responsibilities, just like we all have our own roles and responsibilities on the race team. So we were able to put that into practice over the course of the off season and really apply it at the start of this year. And he's just an easy guy to get comfortable with because he's genuine. He is who he is. You're going to get what you're going to get from Tommy. And that's what we love about him.
In this offseason, it was announced that Mike Green was returning, but there were some goals and expectations that you guys had to meet for him to come back. Are you allowed to share some of them?
In terms of what kind of goals and expectations?
I remember the press release that said that like you guys, he was like looking for like certain. I could try to find it, but it would take some time.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think that in general, in terms of meeting goals and expectations, is pretty simple. Winning a championship, right? That's the expectation. And it's the expectation every year. But look, we have realistic expectations. We understand and we know, especially with the depth of the top fuel field, that up and down, this is not easy. These are the professionals. These are the best drivers and best teams in the world. But that doesn't mean it should change our expectation. Our expectation is to be able to go out there and win each race we attend and win the championship. Again, with that being said, it's very difficult. It's a difficult task, but that's our objective and that's our expectation every race. And Mike expects to win. And that's what you want is a crew chief who expects to win and a team that expects to win. So I think from an expectation standpoint, that's what we had to meet. We have to run a full schedule. We have to compete and win for a championship and be a team that operates as professionals. We know that at this time we're warming up the race car, at this time we're making our pass, at this time we're pulling into the staging lanes. Everything has to be part of our routine as a group. And I think that discipline is something Mike's brought to the table. So, I think in terms of expectations, that's probably where they lie.
Okay. Towards the end of last season, I was informed that your sponsor was leaving. and they did leave the major sponsor that you had.
Sure.
And as drag racers, it's tough to find sponsorship, but you were able to find a new sponsor with Phillips Connect. And I was initially told that it was just a 3-race deal, but now they re-upped for the rest of the season. Could you
Yeah.
talk about getting them on board and bringing them to the drag strip?
Sure. So, first and foremost, it's been a team effort from everybody from our side and everybody from the Phillips Industries and Phillips Connect side. Rob Phillips, Amber White, Jim Epler, and their entire team has just been fantastic throughout the course of this process. And it's been a joy and a pleasure to work with them. We started with the concept of a 3-race deal, right? Pomona, Arizona, and Gainesville to start the year and evaluate and see how things go. And then we'll move forward from there. And it's got to be a partnership. It's more than a sponsorship. It's something that's got to be a win-win for both sides. And it's been that thus far, which has provided us the opportunity to race with Phillips Connect for the remainder of the year. And they've just been a joy and somebody that's been really helpful for our program, because without Phillips Connect, we would not be in the position that we're in today. And I was able to go out to Phillips Connect. I was able to go to Phillips Industries in California. Rob, Jim, and Amber, they were kind enough to host me. And it was clear to me that I understand why this company is so successful. They're built on certain business principles and certain key principles from a personal perspective that have allowed them to grow to the company that they are. So they've built an outstanding culture over there at Phillips Connect, and we're grateful that we're going to be a part of it. And, we're working on a lot of things, and it's a very important and very valuable relationship. And they're an excellent company. They're a leader in smart trailer technology for a reason, and we're working on a lot of business avenues to help continue this relationship and move it forward.
I don't know if this is still the case, but I know it was earlier this season. Outside of your rig, your hauler, you guys would bring a small Phillips Connect trailer to the drag strip.
Yeah, so actually something that we're going to be doing that's very, very exciting is, you see, Phillips Connect makes smart trailer technology. So when you look at large fleets that are on the road, the trucks and the trailers, they make TPMS systems. So they make tire pressure monitoring systems that monitor the tire pressure. They make cargo cameras. So the drivers and the fleet owners are able to evaluate and see what's in the back and follow the cargo as they go down the road. They make GPS tracking, so you're able to always track where your truck and trailer are, in addition to a number of other things, lights out detection. I mean, the list goes on and on, but the whole purpose behind it and behind their technology is that you actually get your return on investment. You're actually paying to save money and make money later on down the road. So what they've done is they've developed an awesome tech trailer that they're bringing from race to race, starting in Epping, and they're going to stop at different stops along the way to have meetings and to actually show people on site their technology within the pit area. So that's something that's really exciting to us. They'll have all their technology on site in their Phillips Connect on-demand tech trailer. It's a place to have meetings. It's a place for people to see their technology. So yeah, really great, a great opportunity to host people at the racetrack.
Would that be next to your rig, or would that be in the midway?
So we're still working out the logistics of it right now. It depends. We're going to work through a few things. We'd like to keep it in the pit area. It will not be on the midway, perhaps by the motorhome area, but most likely it'll lie by our pit in accordance where in accordance to the hospitality area, where people can go directly from the hospitality to the tech trailer to be able to see a few things.
Okay. In February, you won the 2022 Winternationals over Austin Prock, his first race back as a full-time sponsored driver. What was it like to face Austin for the win in February?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were talking about, two young guns going at it, but for me, it wasn't about that. I'm happy to see Austin back at the racetrack. I really am. And he is a fantastic driver. I think he's one of the best drivers that we have in the sport and in the top fuel category. But it's not about me versus Austin, and it never was. It's about our Phillips Connect team versus his team, because it's a team sport, and really that's what it's all about. So to be able to race in the final round is a privilege, especially at a prestigious race like the NHRA Winternationals, which really has so much prestige and honor to it. But winning that race was extra special because it was the first race for Phillips Connect. We had people there from Phillips Connect all throughout the weekend. We had people from our other sponsors like Cotto and Auto Shocker there throughout the weekend. It was our first 2022 race representing Vita C Shot and Vita C Energy. And then in addition to all that, Jim Epler, who's the first funny car driver to go over 300 miles per hour and who's major executive at Phillips Connect, was on hand, and that was the 30th anniversary of him winning the NHRA Winternationals at Pomona. So all that in conjunction made it such a special win for us as a team. And it was a win that far and away far exceeds any other win I've had in anything ever before.
But you had 6 wins so far.
I know, I've been fortunate. I'm surrounded by a lot of really great people. Each one is special. I promise you, each one is so special. But this was really, really exciting. It's just top to bottom. What a weekend. It was a great weekend. You want to kick off the season the right way. We ran really well in testing in Arizona the week before that. But just to be able to see it all the hard work that the Davis Motorsports team put in during the offseason, to be able to fast forward to February and see it come to fruition so early on in the season, makes it just so special.
When you did that top end interview with Amanda, you said that it's going to take persistence to be the champion. And since then, as we talked about before we began this, it's been like a little up and down for you so far this season.
Yeah, it has. There's been some ups and downs, but we understand that that's a part of racing. I think part of what makes, you talk about persistence, part of persistence in this sport is not riding that emotional roller coaster, not going up and down, and instead staying linear and just being the very best version of your team that you can be. And there's been some highs. We won races. We went to a final round. We went to a semifinal. And there's been some first round losses, which aren't ideal. It's not what you're looking for as a team, but also you have to have a healthy understanding that that's racing. That's part of what's going to happen as a group. And it's not what happens. It's not losing in the first round. It's how you respond to it and how you learn from it and move on to the next race. So Mike Green, Tommy Delago, they are well-versed. The team is well-versed. They're experienced. They understand everything that goes into racing a 22-race schedule, especially when you're racing at an elite level like this. And we have full support from our sponsors and from everybody that supports us. And they all understand that this is part of the ebbs and flows of drag racing. And when you look at the season, not from how good you were your last race, but as a whole, we're fourth in the points and we're really doing a great job.
When I talk to a lot of drivers, they always say it's not about wins and losses. Like you said, it's all about the life lessons that they get from drag racing. And they say you're going to lose more than you will ever win in drag racing, but it's how you handle those losses that make you and builds the character for when you win.
It's true. And that'll teach you, in order to learn how to win, you got to learn how to lose. Right. And when I say that, I mean that you got to learn and understand that not only losing is a part of it, but how you can actually take that to strengthen your organization and make yourself as a driver and as a team that much better. And a large part of that is learning from it. It's not about what happens. It's about learning from it, and being able to apply it moving forward. So they're right when they say that it builds character. You really, the true test of someone's character is not when they're winning and everything goes well, because everybody's happy when you're winning. Is when you're not winning and you're struggling a little bit that you really see the true identity of a team and identity of a person. So it builds character on the track. It builds character in business. It builds character in life. And that's something that we as a group understand.
Next, we have for the NHRA schedule, Epping, New Hampshire. It's the furthest race you have on the calendar every year. And it's for a lot of you guys, you get to experience the lobster that they have up there. So for you guys, when you went to Virginia, lost in first round, I believe it was Tony Schumacher. What's your expectation? I know everyone says we're coming in to win, but like we talked about the life lessons of losing. What's your goals when we come to Epping? Is still to win?
Our goals haven't changed, and our goals won't change. Obviously, it's still to win. We feel confident in the car that we have, and we feel confident in the team that we have. We have a great group of guys and girls on and off the racetrack, and a great group of sponsors. Every race we attend, Epping's going to be a special one for Phillips Connect, and we want to bring home that Wally for Phillips Connect. And I can tell you right now, if we win that race, that Wally's going right back with Jim Epler and right back with Amber and Rob to Phillips Connect because that's where it belongs, because we want to win these races for our sponsors. So no, our expectation has not changed. We're going to Epping to win. It's a far race. It's far away in terms of where it's geographically located on the schedule. For me, I'm from New York. It's a 4-hour drive. Not so bad. What's considered sort of a home track for me, but for the team, it's a hike. So we want to make sure it's worth the drive.
Why would that race be special? You said it would be for the Phillips Connect team.
Well, we have a lot going on in the sponsorship and partnership front that'll come out here pretty soon. Last race at Virginia, we introduced the Wykin Foundation, which helps and assists injured veterans, providing them all kinds of assistance. And to be able to have the Wykin Foundation as part of our team through our relationship with Phillips Connect is special. And we'll also have some more announcements that are going to come out here pretty soon. But we're going to be hosting some new partners, at Epping as well there. So you'll see some stuff start to come out. But I think that any race you get to race is special because of those partnership reasons. This will be extra special, but also it's a hometown race for me. I'm excited to get there. I'll have a lot of family and friends in attendance. A lot of people from Phillips Connect in attendance. Chip Loft and Invited C-Shot will be in attendance. People from Auto Shocker will be there. Obviously, people from Toyota will be there. And you always want to go there and race well for the people that care about you and genuinely do everything they can to selflessly help you be successful. And a lot of those people will be on hand in Epping.
You mentioned home track. Would you say that Epping, New England Dragway is the home track, or would it be closer to Pennsylvania? Maple Grove Raceway would be more closer being from New York.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to choose one, I would say Maple Grove. Obviously, it used to be Englishtown, but now it's Maple Grove, and Epping as well. They're close enough where they're within driving distance. Maybe one is an hour and a half further than the other, Epping being further away. But it's a home track as far as I'm concerned, and one that I had a lot of fun at last year. That was the first time I raced at Epping, and it was a blast. It was crowded. The fans were super engaged, and there were quite a few fans from Long Island, which was really, really nice to see. And I always love when they tell me that, being from where I'm from. So that's nice. So that's why I really consider it a home track. So that and Maple Grove really make it a home track and really make it exciting. It's a fun, nostalgic place to be able to race at.
I remember a few months ago when we were at Maple Grove, your family got a little new addition, a new dog.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Doc. That became from, so we went to the final round that race, we left, and on the way home we picked up the dog. Just worked out well. Met him in Pennsylvania. I mean, that dog started out a dog, and at this point he's a brother, a best friend, a son, everything you could possibly imagine. My parents absolutely love that dog. He's a chocolate lab, and he really is a fantastic dog, Doc, in so many ways. So yeah, last time we were in Maple Grove at the end of last year, we did get a dog, and maybe this year we'll bring him back and we'll be able to bring him out to the racetrack.
Well, I will be at that race, so maybe I'll see that dog.
Yeah, you got to stop by and say, "Oh, Doc, I remember you. I remember hearing about you."
Well, I was kind of like a short distance away from you when you were talking to Sarah Edwards, because she was also talking to me when she talked to you at the when you were doing something. Then you came over to talk to her, and I was right there because she was talking to me before you saw her.
Gotcha. Oh, so there you go. Yeah.
Speaking of Maple Grove, there was some big news about a month ago that the Koreskis took over that track. What are your thoughts on that? Drag racers keeping that track instead of losing it.
I think it's great. I think it's important for the sport. The more tracks that we can keep around, the better. And knowing the Koretsky family and knowing the type of people that they are, I think the track is in great hands. I'm sure as racers, we all kind of took a great big sigh of relief when we saw that news come out, because we know not only is that track going to stay, but it's going to thrive and be successful because those are the type of people that the Koretskys are. So really it's just great all the way around that they were able to purchase Maple Grove. I'm excited to see how they maintain, how they upgrade that facility, and how they run the event there. So very exciting that it stayed within the drag racing community. And we obviously, it's a special one, and we wanted to stay around for a long time.
What are your thoughts on a lot of these drag strips going away? We had Palm Beach International closed like a few weeks ago. Word is Memphis is going to be closing pretty soon. You have Houston closing, Arizona closing. We talked about 4 years ago. Old Bridge Township Raceway Park. One that was saved last year was Acco Dragway here in New Jersey. That's like an hour from me. I don't know if you've ever raced there, but that drag strip was the IAA was trying to go into an agreement with them, but then that track is located in the Pine Barrens. So then they're overseen by the Pine Barrens Commission, and they have say on everything that happens with that track. So thankfully, that's what saved that track. What's your thoughts on all these tracks going away?
Well, look, I understand it. It's business, right? And sometimes business deals happen, and they're in the best interest of somebody, even if it's not us within the drag racing community. With that being said, I don't want to see it. I hate seeing it, just like everybody within this community doesn't like seeing it. I want not only these drag strips to not go away, but I want more to pop up. I want there to be an influx of new tracks around the country and around the United States. So I understand and I see maybe the monetary benefit in certain circumstances and why it's happening, but I hate it. I do not like to see it. I'm an optimist. I'll always be an optimist. So it's not something that I really like to focus on. I like to focus on the health of the drag racing community and NHRA as a whole, because we are healthier right now than we've been in a really long time. And there are a lot of really positive things to focus on. So, of course, I hate to see those tracks go away, but I do have a feeling that more and more will start to pop up in the future in other locations.
But if they do start to pop up, then we have to make sure that it's not in the community where houses around them, because then they're going to complain.
Right. We don't want that either. So it takes a special type of area to be able to have it. Just by way of example, I'm not sure if you're familiar with John Montecavo, the Mountain Motor Pro Stock driver.
Yes.
Right.
Too.
Yep. So he is he's from Long Island. He's a great guy, and he's been behind a huge movement to put a drag strip on Long Island.
Yes, I know.
And they're doing a really great job. Just by way of example, they had drag races out there even just a few weeks ago, and right now, obviously, it's got a long way to go. It's just the beginning process of it, but you can see the opportunity that's there. You see how many people just bring their Nissans out there, right? It's like they bring their ATVs out there, whatever it is, just because they love drag racing and they want to race down the drag strip and race each other and have a good time. So the health of the sport is in a really good place. We just have to work on putting more tracks out there, and John's doing a great job of that. And I'm sure he's not the only one. I'm sure there's people, and I know there's people out there pushing that movement to add more drag strips in different places, different states around the country.
What are your thoughts on the fans and the people who say that drag racing is dead?
Well, I don't think there's anything to say, really. I think there's evidence out there that speaks for itself. Just ask the folks in Arizona, or ask the folks in Gainesville, where, was standing room only. I had cousins of mine that were in Arizona that came back. I said, "Hey, what'd you think?" They said, "I don't know. I couldn't sit." There was no room to sit. It was standing room only at some of these places. These places are packed out. We're on Fox. We're on Fox Sports, National Fox. At that point, it's really not even worth, not really worth talking about it so much as, looking and seeing about where NHRA as a whole. So, there'll always be some kind of criticism, but I think NHRA is in a really, really strong place. They have a very, very passionate fan base. They have a really good TV package that I'm sure they're going to continue to build upon and expand upon. And, I feel blessed to be a part of the NHRA and drag racing community as a whole.
Yeah, because I do get messages on my Facebook page that said NHRA is dying. They rather watch something else. And I'm sure you know what that something else is.
Yeah, listen, that's okay. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. It doesn't mean they're right. It doesn't mean they're wrong. It just means we can agree to disagree. Right. And that's the world we're living in right now. People are entitled to say what they believe, whether we agree with it or not. And that's okay. That's totally okay with me. I'm an optimist, and I believe that NHRA is in a good position right now.
Back to this season, there's from now until September is like the thick of the season. You're going to have a lot of back-to-backs, a lot of races in a row. As a driver and a team, do you like that more than when we have a race and then you're off 3 weeks, and then you race and then you got off 2 weeks? Do you like it going back to back and sometimes 4 in a row?
I do. It's hard. It can be tough on us and it can be tough on the team. And that's the priority, right? Is the team and making sure that they're healthy and safe and able to perform at a high level. And it can be kind of tough. We're on the road consecutive weeks like that. And when they're, making quick turnarounds and stuff like that. But I think as a group, just generally speaking, we do love it as a team. It helps us get into a rhythm. It helps us get into a certain routine when you race week after week after week in a row. And an opportunity to really thrive and learn as much as we can about that race car. It's funny when you have what you would consider a good race, you want to get right back out there and capture that momentum and move it forward. When you have what might be a little bit of a disappointing race, you still want to get back out there to be able to kind of get your revenge and restart and kind of put that race behind you. So to be able to race consecutive weeks in a row like that is very helpful. It's something that we as a group really enjoy. It helps us get out there. It helps us gain more data, gain more information. The more laps that we can run on the car, the better.
But also at the same time, it's got to be very tiresome that you're on the road all the time. And your crew members have to make sure that not only by the people who drive in the rigs, they also work on your cars and they're driving a lot of hours. So it's got to be tough on them as well.
It's hard. It's hard. That's why you have to be careful. But our guys do a great job. They love what they do. We have fantastic guys who drive the truck. Austin Arnridge is our main guy who drives the truck. And obviously, Toyota keeps us safe by providing us a Toyota Sequoia to be able to go from race to race as well. And we have the guys follow the rig in the Toyota Sequoia to be able to get from race to race. So it's tiring, it's a grind. We have drivers who are able to switch off, but we make it all work because we love what we do. And ultimately, that's what it comes down to. But it comes down to our team being successful. A part of that is, adding Phillips Connect technology to our rig so we understand where we are and we track our rig and understand where the rig is at all times when we're traveling across the country. So it's all one big team working together to accomplish the same objective, and we all love what we do.
You mentioned that you're currently fourth in the point standings, and you would like to be in the championship picture at the end of the season. We still got about 15, 18 or so, well, less than that, maybe 15 races left for the rest of the season. How do you as a team, you and your team, stay in the championship hunt when it comes September, October, November?
Yeah, we need to keep doing what we're doing, not really concentrate on what's going on externally or what's going on with the teams around us. We need to stay focused on us and be the best version of ourselves that we can be. With the countdown format, the way it is, a lot of it is getting hot at the right time. Obviously, you need to accumulate the right amount of points to be able to make the countdown, which is priority number one. And then priority number two, put yourself in a position to compete for the championship over the last few races of the year and come the NHRA World Finals at Pomona for the last race of the year. So I think what we have to do is focus on ourselves and take advantage of the opportunities that we have. And when we have a step back, we learn from it and move forward because you know what, that's racing and we understand that. And we have a healthy respect and understanding for what racing is and all that we can accomplish as a group. So it's just going to be about having the right mindset and going out there and being able to give ourselves the best opportunity to perform and perform at a high level.
For the past 4 seasons, a guy named Steve Torrance, who you know very well, has dominated the class and won the last 4 championships. Do you think this season somebody could take the championship away from him?
Well, I mean, Steve's done a great job over the last 4 years. You look at that team and the way they built that culture and that team over there. They've been together for a long time. Correct. And that speaks to how important it is to have a really good team. And I think that right now, I'll say this, obviously Steve is still in an elite level. He's performing at a great level. His team's performing at a great level. And so are so many teams out there. The depth of the top fuel field this year is the best we've seen probably in the last 10 to 20 years at least. It's legitimately that good. There's top to bottom part-time cars that really aren't part-time cars. They only show up part of the time and could win any race that they attend. So Steve could win the championship. Any team could win the championship this year. I don't know. It's one of those things that we're just going to have to wait and see and find out. Perhaps there's more parity this year than we've seen in years past. So it's exciting. We all have a healthy respect for one another as drivers. And, as we get toward the end of the year, it might get a little chippy and anything can happen.
That Torrance team, that Capco team, has been around. I would say at least a decade that I know, of, maybe longer than that.
Yeah,
Together,
they've been around a long time, as far as I can remember, too. And what's important to notice, they've had relatively the same personnel for that
correct.
extended period of time as well.
Yes, with Richard Hogan and Bobby Lagana
Yep,
leading that team.
that's right. That's right.
A lot of teams are dealing with this today, and unfortunately, it's the signs of the times that we're living in. The inflation and the shipping problems. Are your team? Is your Are you guys dealing with that as well, like everyone else?
Well, yeah, I mean, all the teams are going through it right now. Obviously, inflation, the cost of material, and the timetable and the supply chain to be able to get things in on time efficiently is difficult right now. With that being said, we have a great group of guys, Mike Green, Tommy DeLago, Dustin Davis, that do a really good job of being proactive and understanding what it takes and what certain timetables might look like, so we're not caught in a bad position. Now, anything can happen, but it's up to us to be able to put ourselves in the best position because we're not immune to it, and nobody within the racing community or the business community or the world in general is immune to it right now. So, we have a lot of really good people in place, that do a great job of being proactive and being able to do a good job of handling all that's going on.
I could be wrong, but is your rig and the team also in Brownsburg?
There, so we're not in Brownsburg, but we're in Pittsburgh, which is just
Okay, right,
15
close
minutes
by.
or so away. Yeah.
Yes. Since they're close by, and I've seen that some teams do this, or I heard some teams do this. Instead of going to a vendor or a parts person and trying to get parts today, they will actually go to Tommy Johnson's little store that he set up with parts to get it faster. Do you guys do that?
Yeah, that's really cool, right? I saw that too. Is the store Tommy has set up, and he's a really
Yeah.
smart guy. Tommy, great driver, great driver. Mike Green actually worked with him for a long time, but he has a really neat store that's set up, and he does a really good job of helping teams get what they need and being localized in that area. But honestly, I really can't speak to that because I don't know. Dustin Davis, Mike Green, Tommy DeLago, they handle the day-to-day operations of the shop, and they do a great job of it. So they're the ones who handle that. I would not be surprised if there are things that they go to Tommy for at all. I mean, he's there and he's there for a reason. He's there to be utilized. I don't know the specifics of it, but I do know that, thankfully they have that part handled.
Outside of drag racing, your job when you were home in New York is a real estate agent, and you buy and flip houses. From what I read, could you tell the audience more about that?
Sure. So I'm a real estate developer. I've been investing in real estate for 5 or 6 years now, really since I graduated from college. And I always wanted to go into business. It's something that I always wanted to do. I thought it was an important element of my life, and I wanted to set up a future for myself in addition to racing. So I fix and flip houses, buy short sales and foreclosures. Generally, what we do with these properties is they are in really bad shape. So we need to gut renovate the entire property. So we'll bring it right back down to the studs. And then after we bring it back to the studs, we redo the plumbing, redo the electrical, redo the sheetrock and everything in between to make sure that everything's done right into code. And we resell the house. So, that's essentially what we do. Most simply put is we fix and flip houses. But with that being said, obviously there's a certain amount of priority that goes to the real estate side of things, as it has to. But I am all in on NHRA drag racing. This is what I want my future to be. I feel fortunate to be able to be in this position and have an opportunity to race. So when it comes to working with our marketing partners, when it comes to working with our team, whatever it takes is of the highest priority on my end in terms of drag racing.
So what you do is kind of like what I've seen recently. Well, I'll call it the same. You might have you can tell me a little differently. So I've seen this show called the Zombie House Flipping on A&E. So something similar to that.
Yeah, I think something similar to that. I mean, I've never seen that particular show, but I've seen the fix and flip houses on TV. I mean, it's similar. They leave a lot of stuff out, but Yeah, it's similar, just to get the idea, obviously. It can be a lot of fun. It can be quite stressful. There's a lot of ups and downs like there is with racing. Business will teach you about racing, and racing will teach you about business and about life, just the way it works. But fortunately, just like I am with racing, I'm surrounded by a lot of really great people who help me because I'm not always at home. I'm on the road quite a bit throughout the racing season and sometimes in the off season. So it could be like that zombie show. Very much. There's definitely a lot that goes into it.
Because on that show, they'll buy like this house that's like beat up. Well, either like it'd be in like this nice area, and then like this house is like vacant for a while, and like sometimes I seen like two of the shows. One was like the outside was kind of a little messed up, and then it was like a regular looking house, but when they got into it, it was all destroyed. Sometimes like people painted on one of the episodes, like the walls, and then they had to like redo the walls, but they like took it down to the bare bones and like started all over again.
That's what it is. It is bad. It's not pretty in there. We found all kinds of things in there. The house needs to be torn apart pretty much and put back together. It's as close to new construction or rebuild as you can possibly imagine. One of our sponsors, actually, Biocide Systems, they make a product called Room Shocker that gets rid of the smells that you find in your houses, whether it's from animals, whether it's from food, whether it's from vomit. So that Room Shocker is actually a product that we use in the house really before we even go in there, just to get rid of the smell so we could work in there with some kind of peace of mind. So it's not always the prettiest, but the good news is by the time it's said and done, it looks really pretty.
So how long would you guys work on it, so to speak? Because I know on the show it says like 40 days or 6 weeks, because sometimes you got to pay a payment on the house before you can sell it, or you got to make sure that you sell it before you have to pay the next payment. That's what I meant.
Yeah, so I mean, it really depends. The construction portion, believe it or not, is not the part that might necessarily take the longest. It's doing everything, the right way according to the particular township. So when we file for plans and permits, and you have inspections along the way to get a proper certificate of occupancy for the house, that's what adds up and takes the longest time. So construction itself, 6 to 8 weeks. But by the time you add the whole process in of getting your plans, getting your inspections, getting your permits, then selling the house, waiting for a mortgage, closing on the house, by the time you go through the whole process, we generally like to close within 6 to 8 months from the time of the original purchase to the time of the resale.
So you could sell like 1 or 2 houses a year.
Yes, and we work on more than that because we'll work on multiple projects at the same time. So we'll have multiple projects going on all at once, all in different phases. One might be under construction, one might be in applying for permits, one might be for resale already. So it really it all kind of depends. But yeah, we've been able to work on multiple at the same time.
Are all the houses that you work on under your firm that you developed, is it all in New York, or is Connecticut or New Jersey, all over the place?
Yeah, so it's all in New York. We keep everything centralized. We do that on purpose. We want to keep it in New York, around the area, because we feel like we want to be the best at what we do here. We don't want to spread ourselves too thin. We want our focus and concentration to be, the best fix and flippers, the best development company on Long Island. So that's why everything we do is located in and around this immediate area.
Okay. Is all of it in Long Island, or do you go into New York City as well?
No, we actually only do Long Island.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time tonight, Justin. Everyone, outside of being on Facebook Live and YouTube Live at the moment, this show will also be on Rumble and BitChute as well in the next few days. I will upload it there as well. And it would also be on Anchor.fm, our podcast version. Thank you, Justin, for your time tonight, and good luck the rest of the 2022 season.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. It's my pleasure. You have a great show. And again, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you again.